What's in my tour case? Let's find out. Well, I've had this for many years, 10, 12, maybe more. Absolutely trustworthy. It has an egg shaker in it. I get asked so many times, what's in my touring bag? Well, let me show you. The most important thing is that you sound good. And so to do that, I have been using a Grace Design Alix preamp pedal for many years. This one is battered. It's missing a couple of knobs. Some of them I've re-super glued. It's actually permanently stuck to this very high-tech piece of board. This is the best sound that I've ever had on a banjo. It's fail-safe. It always sounds amazing. I've played around with a bunch of other things. They're expensive, and I think they're probably like 50% more expensive now than when I bought my one. But I've just never found anything that compares to how good this sounds. I am going to do a video showing you what it sounds like and twiddling a few of the knobs to see what changes. That's going to be a longer video, so for this I'm just going to show you what I have. This is a new edition. For many years I toured with just one pedal and would kind of jealously look at all of the other guys on stage with multiple things to be pressing, but banjo doesn't really work very well with a whole bunch of effects. So this is a Strymon Bluesky Reverb. One thing banjo loves is reverb. It's a short, punchy kind of sound, and it needs some sustain added into it. This is excellent. You only need a touch. So you have two pedals, two buttons. One is for your favorite. I set that here in the house, did a load of experiment with it, and it just gives some roundness to the tone without being kind of like hugely washy kind of reverb sound. The special thing with the Bluesky is the shimmer button, so you can have a little bit of audio shimmer that happens on the slower pieces, and that is quite nice. Making up the corner of the board is a pedal that does absolutely nothing because I keep it turned off. I thought it might do something. It's called a Body Rez from TC Electronics. The videos look great where it gives resonance and sustain to acoustic instruments. Whatever it is with the banjo, the more you turn it up, the thinner the sound gets. So it kind of does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. So it's just there for no other reason than it fills space and looks cool, but I don't turn it on. As always, despite my best efforts, there are cables. This is the one part of the affair that always stresses me out because I hate kind of messy cables and things but I guess you have to plug it in somewhere. I couldn't say enough about the Grace Design Alix. It's brilliant. I've also used the LR Bags Venue DI, which is a really good alternative. It's not remotely as good a sound as this, but for something that's not going to break the bank, the Venue DI is a very good preamp. Now, you gotta get the sound from the banjo to the preamp. The normal way of doing that is with a 1/4-inch cable, or as we on this side of the pond like to call it, a jack to jack. Great, it's always going to work. Problem with it, it's a cable. You step on them, but it also limits you to where you can go on stage. So if you're plugged in with a jack to jack, you're kind of set in the one position. I like to kind of wander around and interact with the other musicians on stage. To do that, I need a wireless system. So I've been using this for a good few years. This is a NUX, NUX. They are cheap as chips, I mean, relatively speaking. You can get them on Amazon. This is the C5RC. There are newer versions. It's a 5.8G wireless system. I don't know what that means. There's two. One is a transmitter and one is a receiver. Because I can never remember which is which, I wrote B on the one that says banjo. NUX Wireless System. So batteries do run out, and I've had that happen. Sometimes pickups can get damaged. That rarely ever happens. I mean, and truly, I think twice ever in my life have I had a pickup that wouldn't work. But just in case, I always bring a DPA clip-on mic with me. Now, this is always going to give you the best sound. It's going to be way better and more natural sounding than a pickup. The limitations are that it has a cable. This goes directly into an XLR, and then you are limited in how much you can move depending on the length of the wires that you have. The other drawback with this is that if you're playing on a really loud stage, either at a festival or a very loud venue, this will feed back way before a pickup will feed back. That's the only major downside of this, is the feedback and the lack of mobility. It's a powered pickup, which means it needs phantom power, and that means that you can't plug it into a wireless pack. You would need to have a power pack as well. Some musicians do that, but that's a lot of extra paraphernalia. It's always in my case because it's a perfect backup in case the pickup gives me any issues. Or if I'm doing a nice acoustic gig where I don't have to move very much on stage, or if it's a smaller stage, then this is always going to sound the best. I am going to do a video where I demonstrate all of the different sounds and the different pickups. So make sure that you hit the like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And when that video comes out shortly, you'll know all about it. If you have any questions about any of the gear, make sure you drop it in the comments below and I will do my best to answer any queries that you have. Now, in conjunction with the DPA, one of the issues with a DPA is that you can't mute it. So if you're tuning, which of course it's a banjo, so you're always bloody tuning, you don't want the audience to be listening to you banging away tuning all the time. So I bought an on-off microphone mute switch. That's literally all it does. It turns the mic on and off. It's made by Rolls.com. It's the smallest bloody button ever made. Honest to God, when I'm using this, I miss the button most of the time because it's teeny. So if you're watching from Rolls.com, make this again. Put a big button on it. It doesn't need to be tiny, but it's a great little product. Lets you switch off your clip-on mic. You can tune away silently, turn it back on again. Take you 9 times to hit the little switch, but it's a really good product. So what other essential gear is in my bag? Well, this rarely is, but I do recommend some form of snips just so you can clip the top of the strings when you change them. This is a pretty big one, so that's the one I have at home. Head tension and making adjustments to the neck. Now, this is critical depending on the type of banjo that you have and also where you're playing, all right? So I do a lot of work in the United States, and during summer in the US, you could play Kentucky in June where the humidity is 98% and the temperature is 100 and God knows what. And then 2 days later, play in Colorado at 7,000 feet where the humidity is 15%. Banjos are made of wood and the synthetic head. Huge changes in everything. When you go to elevation, the head gets super tight. The wood can dry out if you're up there for a while. And when that does, it contracts. So you need to be able to make adjustments on the fly. Now, for your standard banjo, you need one of these little drum keys, and you go around, you twist all of the little things, and that's how you adjust the head. Handy little thing, always have one of those in your case. On my neck fill banjo, way better system, if I don't mind saying. I didn't design it, but it's a way better system. The neck fill is like a tunable Bowron, if you've ever seen one of those. So the head sits on a bunch of ball bearings. And in order to loosen the head or tighten the head, you use 2 big Allen wrenches. You stick them in and you just twist, and the entire thing rotates on itself and the head gets tight very easily. But it also does it uniformly, which I think is the best part. So I'm always traveling with 2 of these. Can't have them in your hand luggage, because apparently you could take the wings off the plane with one of these. The other thing that's in there is a socket wrench. I'm useless at the names of these things. This is for adjusting the truss rod. So on the neck fill banjo, I can pop this in at the top of the neck and I can change the bow of the neck. And again, if you go to elevation and the neck dries out, or you're down in swampy, soupy Ohio in the middle of July, you might need to adjust your neck, and you can do it instantly with this. One other thing that I have when it comes to making sure that the head tension is right is a little drum dial. So this is made by the Nashville Banjo Company. It's small, it's not big. A lot of the other drum dials are like big, heavy bits of kit, whereas this is small. It's called a pocket dial, and it's literally, it can go into the palm of your hand. And that's just a way to check that you have uniform head tension. Honestly, I'll generally just kind of give it a press, and I know now what I like, but that's a really handy little product. It takes up almost no room in your suitcase, and I guess if you're on tour, that's the main consideration often. Naturally, I have a ton of strings. Again, for touring, you want brightness and you want ease. You don't want to have to be changing them all of the time. For that, I use elixirs. So on my lowest string, which I have as an A, but normally would be a G, on the D and on the high E, I use elixirs. For my A string, I love a wound A string. I use an 18 or a 17. Elixir don't make a wound A string. So I use a Dario XL nickel wound. Now, technically it's an electric guitar string. It's nickel, so it doesn't break down the way that phosphor or phosphor bronze breaks down for me. If I'm using a bronze uncoated string, so non-elixir, it dies in 24 hours. I mean, literally put it on, it'll be beautiful and bright, and within a day it sounds like a rope. So the elixirs last a week of like gigging 6 days a week playing for 2 hours a day, and they'll still stay bright. So when I'm on the road, if I'm going for a month, I'm going to bring 6 string changes so that I have 1 a week plus a couple of extras. And for the A string, which is the most likely to break just because it's a little lighter, I'll usually bring 6, 7, maybe 8 A strings just to be on the safe side. And the last bit of kit that I have loads of are Stringjoy picks. They're the best. I love them. I've been using them for the last number of years. The massive downside is that they do wear down very quickly. And I know I'm a complete perfectionist when it comes to how it feels and the tone. So I go through 2 picks every gig at a minimum, maybe 3, sometimes 4, depending on how old the strings are and how hard I'm playing. I use the Jumbo Jazz Strawberry, which is the 50, and the Jumbo Jazz Orange Soda. Jumbo Jazz. The Jazz are a little bit too small. So I'll buy them in their hundreds. The reds are the strawberries. I'll often use the orange ones because they're a 60 or a 0.6. If it's very loud and if I just want a little bit of backbone to my picking so that I'm not really working super hard, I'll use the orange 60. If not, I'll often use the 50. Stringjoy, if you're watching, you know I've asked, begged, make a 0.55. That will be the perfect banjo pick. I just know. The 50 is just like marginally too soft and the 60 marginally too hard. 0.55 would be perfect. Now I've asked again. The last thing, I don't have it with me right now, is a TC Electronics Polytune clip-on tuner. This is the best clip-on tuner. It doesn't matter how loud the stage is, and I've played like screamingly loud stages. This always registers this individual string that you're playing. It doesn't matter if the band is playing at the same time and you want to tune. It's just the best tuner that I've ever used. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. Like, let's be very clear about that. Pay for everything. The TC Electronics clip-on tuner is just the best. I haven't come across anything. It's like streets ahead of any other clip-on tuner. And I've never really had any success. And I have a TC Electronics Polytune pedal where you play into the pedal tuner. That doesn't register as well as the one that's clipped onto the top of the banjo. That's my kit. That's what I bring on the road. I am going to do a video demonstrating all of the sounds that I get from the different pedals versus the clip-on mic. So do make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss that. Any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm very happy to answer them. Like I said, the most important thing is that it all fits in a case that you can bring with you very handily. I'm not mad onto big heavy pedal boards. I try and keep everything as light and as small and as compact as possible. Ease. I hate a case that's wedged. It stresses me out, so I like to have a little bit of room in there, but that's just a personal thing. And if you have room, make sure to pack at least one egg shaker.